He thinks he's misheard. She came to the hero on her own, and that surprises him. It's not easy for him to accept. She decided to seek protection from him because she thinks he is strong enough. She can't back down. The man accuses the woman of growing up in a greenhouse and not knowing what she is saying. She is trying to understand what marriage is all about. He asks her if she knows what spouses do, and she replies that she does. However, they are not married now. He calls her by name, tired and frustrated. The girl's name is Whitlow. She recalls that in the past she would have trembled with fear, but now the level of shame is nothing to him. Alfred, the caravan owner, wants to get her and has promised the gold mine of Laventa to the Duke of Whitlow. The Duke gets the gold mine and hands her over to Alfred. She worries that another offer may come. He notes that she speaks without manners and suggests that she be the first to use deferential titles, after which he will show her how to behave with him. She explains that if you give the Duke the mine of Banat, he will give her to him, not Alfred, because Banat's mine is much larger. She asks if it would be better to have the Duke of Whitlow's flower than a soon-to-fade gold mine. He, angry, asks if she really thinks she is as valuable as Banat's mine. She assures him that the flower hasn't wilted yet. She wonders how she could have known that. A stamped letter lies on the table. The hero is sure that the letter could not have leaked anywhere. He realizes what the woman is trying to do. She tells him that he is the king of the beastmen. If he doesn't want to fall without a blossom, he must watch his tongue. The hero says that even if the flower falls, his neck will fall with it. The woman replies that his plan will fail and he will die an agonizing death, and the beastmen gathered around him will live in misery. After that, he will have no choice but to marry her. He thinks she is an arrogant and mysterious woman. The hero is amazed that she met him without fear. He finds it hard to believe that he is only the Duke of Whitlow Flower. He cannot fully explain the value of this woman. He apologizes for his behavior to Lady Whitlow, but he is surprised by her intention to offer marriage to someone who might fail and die. The woman explains that she wants to escape from this duke and decorate the new greenhouse she loves with all her strength and endeavor. She also wants to marry a beastman. The heroine tries to live a carefree life and asks what he thinks of it. The man, suffering, thinks that although he has always felt drowsy, that day he felt impending death. He wishes he had not made a sound and wonders why he had to live and die like that. As he lay dying, he had the thought that he didn't want to die like that. A voice answers him, "Then try to live." It affirms her desire to live. The heroine realizes that it has been a month since she woke up. She died at the age of almost 40, and as she watched future events rapidly looming over her, she realized that this was not a dream. She was back in her 20s. Confirming this, she went straight to Keybrant Green because she had to get out of that house. The heroine didn't expect that he wouldn't give her an answer until today. A woman named Iris asks her if she's still napping. Today is the day when the man who will become her husband arrives. She tries to remember the name of the head of the house and says, "Oh, that's right, Alfred." The woman argues that first impressions are important and suggests she wear certain clothes. Iris rudely states that her mother was but since they covered it up and found someone who wants to marry her, she should treat that person well. The heroine's father tells her the same thing. She asks what Iris means by that. The maid in the room exclaims, "My lady." At this time, the man reports that the Earl of Green has arrived. He has heard that the Duke of Whitlow's favorite daughter is very beautiful. Another man clarifies, "Oh, you mean Brittany." The man says he heard about Lady Whitlow's visit. Iris confirms this. She recalls that the man who came is the most popular in society in their time, and even the emperor cannot treat him carelessly because he is protected by the entire kingdom. The man has power equivalent to a duke. Count Keybrant Green asks her to marry him. The heroine sees that he has decided to accept the proposal. The man, seeing Earl Green, is surprised and asks what's going on. He is perplexed, for wasn't it Brittany he preferred? Earl Green replies that he never said such a thing and declares that he wants to spend his life with the heroine. Iris is stunned, wondering how Cabrant could have chosen that silly girl. Iris thinks it must be a dream, since the eldest daughter is still unmarried. She recalls that even the third and fifth princes of the Gavager Empire married before the crown prince. She wonders if the Duke thinks Cabrant Green is not good enough for a son-in-law. The man accuses the woman of asking him to dance at the last ball rather than him asking her. He calls Lady Brittany pretty stupid. The man says he only said yes because she was so desperate, but he's sorry it was misunderstood. The man wonders what the situation is, but realizes that if there is an opportunity to establish a relationship with Earl Green, one should take the opportunity. He asks what Lady Iris's response is. He, slightly worried, asks her opinion. She agrees with Earl Green. The heroine accepts Earl Green's proposal, which draws protests from Iris, who thinks it is too hasty and that Iris is completely unprepared for marriage. The man orders Iris to go to her room. Count Green, talking to the heroine, wonders how she found out about everything. She wonders what he is talking about. The Count explains that by chance, Alfred promised to come and get him today. The heroine thinks that the timing of events was too good. She recalls how, at the moment the contract was signed, Earl Green suddenly fell in love with her. Earl Green announces that he and Lady Iris will be traveling to his estate today. The heroine never thought that he would immediately sign the contract and take her away right away. Iris wonders if they should arrive half a day in advance. In the meantime, the man who hired all the mercenaries to handle someone is horrified to see the aftermath. The mercenaries confirm that the job is done. The man panics and realizes that being fired like this is the end for him. The mercenary coldly tells him that it is time to send him away. The man, screaming fearfully, begs them to stay away. The heroine reflects that she had to make a quick return last time, but this time is different. The man asks why she is looking at him like that. She replies that she doesn't know what he's talking about. He thinks she is too calm, and reminds her that Lady Iris herself told him to marry her. The man points out that she might want to run away from the Duke, but Earl Green is not the safe and cozy place she imagines. He warns that he doesn't know when she will die, as marriage to a werewolf carries its own dangers. The man points out that she may want to hide from the Duke of Whitlow, but he himself is not some sort of hothouse. He wants to know what she needs to protect right now. The man tells her not to pretend she knows everything when in fact she knows nothing. Even though she told him about the future, Earl Green is still not convinced. He thinks she needs to see it with her own eyes to believe it. The heroine thinks that even though he scares her, there is nothing scarier than that house. Earl Green asks if she is afraid and if she is sure she won't regret it. The heroine never expected them to be so close. She feels it's too soon for something like this and asks him to wait. Her heart feels like it's about to burst. The man kisses her and reminds her that she said she knows everything. The hero notices that the heroine seems tense. He informs her that they will soon enter the town of Dakotas. She replies, "Okay." He suggests that she look out the window for a moment. She sees a beautiful building and realizes it will be her greenhouse, now called Whitlow Green. The man asks if she likes her bedroom. The hero informs the heroine that she will have to sleep in the same room with him from now on. She remains silent. He suggests that they first decide what they will call each other since they are now a married couple. The heroine offers to call her Lysira. The hero notices that she surprises him greatly and says she can call him Kara. The heroine is surprised that they have to share a room, and it's a bit of a surprise to her. The heroine knew that usually in arranged marriages, spouses use different rooms, even with Alfred. The hero asks her if she's been thinking about something serious, and reminds her that there are things left unfinished. He calls her Countess Green and wonders what she thinks about it. She hasn't shown him everything yet. The heroine suggests he show her what he really looks like, since he scared her so much. If the heroine wants, the hero is willing to show her his real form. She never thought she would see what a werewolf looked like. As she wandered through the darkness of death, she saw his final moments. The heroine notices that the werewolf is huge and seems intimidating. She is not afraid of anything. As she gets closer, she thinks he is very handsome, despite everything. She doesn't understand why he had to die in such a state. His skin was stiff and his blood was dried. That grim look was the end of the wolf. The werewolf had spent his life sacrificing himself to protect the sacred relics, but had to die cold just because he was a beast. The hero, in the guise of a wolf, asks Lysira if she is afraid of him. She thinks this is unfair and irrational, but replies that no, she has no regrets about such things. He warns that she might regret it. She, hugging him, assures him that she has no regrets even in such situations. Suddenly, there is a loud sound and someone screams, asking what is wrong. The servants react to the noise in a panic. One of them exclaims in surprise as to why the Lord is acting like this. The Lord sits on a chair in his robe, and the servant apologizes to Lysira for his rude behavior. He adds that normally their Lord does not behave like this. The heroine, sitting across from him, smiles and laughs. She finds that this place seems nicer than she expected, and realizes that she will be fine here. Lord apologizes for the delay in greeting her, explaining that he's been a bit busy. Nathaniel, a martial arts expert, greets Lysira and suggests she contact him if she's interested in self-defense. He introduces his companions. The tall man is Wallace, and next to him is Eugene. Nathaniel looks forward to working well together and asks Lysira to take care of the captain, adding that he didn't expect the captain to get married. The captain asks Lysira not to get rid of him if she doesn't love him, which makes her laugh. The captain notices that they aren't done looking around the mansion and asks them to leave. He says goodbye to Lysira, promising to see her tomorrow. Lysira thinks they all seem friendly. The captain remarks that they are practically family, to which Lysira ponders the meaning of the word family. Meanwhile, elsewhere, someone is yelling about how they can't just stand by and watch Lysira marry Earl Green. The young woman is furious and asks how her father could do this to her. The man explains that it was a great favor to their family, as even the wasteland was sold for a huge sum. She is furious and declares that she doesn't care about the gold mines. She believes that she should have become Countess Green. Her mother agrees that this is a bit unfortunate, but points out that they raised the girl with the idea of one day marrying her off to someone more important. She is certain that Brittany will take a position above the Countess. Brittany dreams of becoming a princess and is sure that once that happens, she will make Earl Green her own. She finishes writing the letter and reflects that being loved is her role, not Iris's. Meanwhile, the heroine realizes that dinner took longer than expected, but it was delicious. The man asks if there was a place she particularly liked during the walk. She replies that all the places were beautiful even in the dark. He thinks she looks most beautiful when she is mopping the floors, and ponders that he could ask the butler to show her the castle. Brittany, having joined the Crown Prince's entourage, hopes to become Crown Princess soon and plans to take Iris's place. She is certain that once she becomes Crown Princess, Earl Green will be hers. The man thinks it would have been fine for him if she hadn't accompanied him in person, but she still came. He says he feels better with a kind woman like Kara by his side. He thought he would never experience that feeling again. He doesn't think that's the only reason for the feeling. The man jokes that it feels like she's seducing him. He suggests that he should prepare himself to live up to Countess Green's expectations. Kara says that she didn't bring her pajamas with her, and even at home she only had this outfit. The man suggests she just put on a robe. She is a little confused, but agrees despite the seriousness of the situation. He wants to help her get dressed and undresses himself. The hero notices that she is confused and tired, even though he just kissed her and she fell asleep immediately. He notes that this feeling is unfamiliar to him. The heroine remembers that she wants to escape from the cursed duchy, but no matter what happens, she remains a flower of the green duchy. She can blossom in peace, and he supports her in doing so. Meanwhile, another woman, Gillette, wonders if he needs help. She stood at the window, contemplating the weather, which brought thoughts of ice cream and wanting to go outside. However, with only one outfit that had been sent to the wash, she couldn't afford such simple thoughts in the past. Suddenly a knock was heard, and she wondered who was there. Wallace entered, informing her that his friend wanted to say hello. The friend turned out to be the butler of the house named Jamie. He hadn't heard the news beforehand, so he couldn't greet her yesterday. Jamie expressed his hope for a fruitful collaboration with her. They sat down at the table, and Wallace said that as long as no maids were hired, she could address any requests to them. Jamie suggested that if she wasn't comfortable addressing him as Countess, she could call him by his first name. She asked to be called Iris, and she also mentioned that she needed clothes immediately. Jamie said that a tailor would visit the palace later in the week, but she insisted that she needed clothes immediately. The heroine recalls seeing a man named Nathaniel who seems to be the right size for her. She asks if she can borrow clothes from him. Wallace jokes that even though Nathaniel looks pampered, he's still a man, but Jamie says not to get involved. She recalls how they used to call her a flower, but she felt like a weed. Now, having become a flower, she has no intention of living like a flower. She learns that it will be her greenhouse and replies that it is her job to decorate the greenhouse as she wishes. The heroine believes that it doesn't matter what she wears as long as it is comfortable. She wants to live free this time. Jamie agrees to bring Nathaniel's clothes. He asks if she needs anything else, and she asks for ice cream and an umbrella for a walk in the garden. Jamie ponders how far he can afford to act in this house and concludes that there is nothing she can't do at Iris's house. She thanks him for that and decides that going outside was a good idea. Although the clothes are a little big, they are comfortable, and Iris wonders if she should ask the tailor to adjust them. She finds it a bit difficult to manage on her own, as she lacks hands, but she manages. The hero notices how sunburn can appear on her face and decides it's not so bad. He asks how she found her way here, and she explains that she met Jamie, who went to meet Lycera that morning. The man is surprised that Jamie was very kind. Iris confirms that he did say that, and even that ice cream was made by Jamie. He ponders whether the hero behaves differently in front of his wife's sister. The woman suggests that the hero try the ice cream. The man replies that he would prefer to be lip-fed. The woman thinks he is joking again, but then kisses him. The woman continues to kiss the hero, and he asks her what it tastes like. She says it's sweet. He didn't expect her to wear someone else's clothes. The woman apologizes for the pain she caused by accident. The man notices that she needs new clothes and says Jamie will call a tailor. The hero and the woman continue their conversation, and she explains that she needs new clothes. He promises that he will choose someone with good education and manners. He also mentions that they will soon be visited by Viscount Alfred Hitch, who will not recognize their marriage and will demand a breakup. The hero ponders how to protect his wife from this man. He asks Lycera what she should do to avoid seeing him and suggests that she tear his head off. The hero asks if the other man should be removed so the heroine never sees him again. The heroine replies that this is not necessary, it is enough to make him hand over the gold mine. The man says thoughtfully the gold mine, and ponders the fact that Alfred will not give up so easily and will hold on to the Duchy of Whitlow. The man concludes that Alfred is probably behaving rudely to get his way. The heroine ponders that Brittany probably still hasn't come to terms with being Countess Green and is looking for ways to get rid of her. She thinks the two men will be coming to her soon. The man tells the heroine that he doesn't have to give her a wedding present. The heroine replies that since he agreed not to reveal that he is a werewolf, she agreed to come with him from Whitlow as Countess Green. The man is surprised and says that she seems petty to him. The heroine says he must have misunderstood something. The heroine asks if the great Earl Green is a man who couldn't give a gold mine to his wife. She says that the Green family is a very respectable family, honored by all, even if not extremely wealthy. But respect is not enough for her. The man replies that they must go south first, then west and the cold north, and finally to the prosperous east. He thinks for a moment, and his ambition strikes him. She says she will put her all into it and suggests that he invest in her. The man agrees. He thought it was a ridiculous dream, but this ambition touched his heart, and he agrees. Countess Green promises the hero that she will give him a gold mine as a wedding gift. A few days later, the heroine reflects on the maid candidates and their honorable families, despite the fact that they were hired in a hurry. She thinks that even though Kira hasn't assigned her much work, the rush will end today. The woman with the red hair says she'll have to deal with it, and walks over to the heroine, calling her "my lady." She informs her that she has brought the maids and asks if the heroine wants to meet them. The woman reflects on the disrespectful treatment that has been going on for days and thinks that as a noble lady who has entered the Count's house as a maid, she should deal with it. She thinks that there are people who are bound to be jealous and can't accept a new mistress, but she didn't expect it to be shown so clearly that it is annoying. The heroine says she'll be there soon. The man introduces two new maids, Urvel from the Ludek family and Krishna from the Fernie family. The new maids greet Countess Green. The Fernie family is known for creating many talented artists. Many of the works of art that adorn the imperial palace were created by artists from the Fernie family. The Ludek family is famous for training many scholars. The reputation of the Ludek family in the Avlar Empire is eye-catching, and being from this family is enough to lend weight to the words. The heroine thanks them for coming and mentions that she is honored to serve as the flower of Duke Whitlow's family. The woman says that if Duke Whitlow's flower is iris, that's a good thing. Urvel asks her to shut up. They then discuss that the Duke was surprised and asked her if they knew each other. The heroine replies that she has always had a connection to the Ludek family. The man explains that Miss Ludek is single and can stay at the estate, whereas Miss Fernie must return 2 or 3 times a week because she has a child. The heroine suggests that they take a tour of the estate before dinner. They marvel, noting how amazing it is, but immediately change their tone when they notice that the Countess is surprised. The woman with red hair says that pretending to be noble doesn't suit her. The man reminds them that if something happens, they must react. The woman with red hair says that they need to protect the Countess. Her interlocutor agrees. Bratney then exclaims irritably that this is all because of Lysira. She blames her for her problems and says that she has summoned Alfred to help her get rid of Lysira. Alfred, upon receiving the letter, laughs and suggests that Bratney call him by his first name. At that moment, the maid informs her that Viscount Hatch is waiting for her in the drawing room. Bratney is nervous and realizes that this cannot go on. Viscount Hatch informs Bratney that he is waiting for her. He is willing to do what she asks to get Iris back. Bratney says she will provide him with what he deserves. She hints that his words must be true. She ponders why the men were so enamored with Iris, comparing her to a flower with untainted purity. Bratney thinks that if Iris's innocence had been defiled by someone, who would believe it? She assures Viscount Hatch that the Whitlow family will support him and they will make sure his words are true. The woman laughs and says that Lady Iris didn't expect this either. She didn't know that the heroine would treat Urwell so well. The heroine reflects that Urwell seems incapable of lying. She would be glad to hear it in person. A few days have passed since the maids arrived, and Ervil and Krishna are slowly getting used to each other. The relationship and bonding is progressing smoothly without much awkwardness. But there is one problem. The heroine wonders why Miss Gillette does what she does. The woman says she doesn't know how long this will go on, but she can't just sit back and watch. She asks permission to go and intervene and then come back. The heroine notes that the maids don't go a day without a fight. This is not Erwell's fault. Gillette, who has been temporarily acting as mistress in the heroine's absence, comes into conflict with the new maids. The situation becomes increasingly irritating. Gillette says she just doesn't understand it. The heroine asks Erwell what's wrong. Erwell says she understands her. The red-haired woman informs Lady Iris that she has something to say. While she was trying to complete her assigned tasks, she had conflicts with Gillette. She was able to get by, but each time there was too much interference. The heroine says she knows this and that Erwell is always having a hard time. She asks if there is anything else Erwell wants to add. Erwell hesitates, but then says that if they need help or advice, it would be better to go to Gillette rather than the Countess. The heroine reflects that they need another maid, and she was worried about finding a suitable candidate. The heroine thinks this is a very useful suggestion. The maid says that Gillette would explain things more easily. At that moment, a message arrives that Countess Green has summoned Gillette. Gillette wonders why she has been summoned. Gillette has been waiting for 30 minutes and wonders what the heroine wants with her. The heroine rebukes her for her lack of respect in meeting the landlady. Gillette reflects that it is unusual for the daughter of an aristocratic family to become a maid in the house of a mere earl, but she knows why Gillette was so bold. With her looks, one could be confident. Gillette becomes the maid of Cabrant and lives on the Green family's estate. The heroine invites her to sit down and asks her what she does. Gillette jokes that she was made to stand up first and then sit down. The heroine informs her that Gillette will now be her maid, as it will be easier that way. Gillette is perplexed as to what this means and how one can pretend to be a noble lady and be in the position of a countess without being married. Gillette asks in bewilderment why she should become the countess's maid, since she is the count's exclusive maid. The heroine explains that it no longer matters, as Gillette will now be her maid. Gillette is outraged and declares that her family are not just servants of the countess. The heroine replies that regardless of the contract, they remain a couple. Gillette objects that it is only an arranged marriage. The heroine explains that a marriage remains a marriage no matter the circumstances, and she is disappointed that Gillette doesn't realize that. Heroine says that Gillette will have to learn gradually. Infuriated, Gillette declares that she cannot tolerate such rude treatment. She runs from the room, determined to inform the Count. In her thoughts, Gillette tries to remain calm and convinces herself that the Count will not allow her to become a mere maid, for she too is beautiful and was called a flower in her family. Gillette is proud of the fact that she is the only woman who can enter the Count's study in this mansion and decides to use this advantage. She knocks on the door, saying that she has something important to tell him. The Count replies that he is busy and will hear from her later. Gillette insists that it is very important, but the Count repeats that he is very busy. The heroine approaches Gillette and notes that she can't come in. Gillette yells that the Count is busy right now, but the door suddenly opens and the Count appears. He asks if Lysira has come to show off her dress. She replies that not really and asks if he likes her outfit. He admits that the outfit is elegant. The heroine then explains that she would like Gillette to be her maid as well, because 2 maids are not enough. The Count agrees, saying that he doesn't care. Gillette is amazed and shocked by this decision. The woman finds the weather refreshing and thinks that thanks to Lady Iris they have finally been able to get rid of the rude comments. She says that while she can't say that their relationship has improved, it is easier for Erwell now. It seems that the other woman, Gillette, is becoming a ghost. It's been a week since Gillette became a maid. She is behaving more obediently than expected, but relations among the maids are deteriorating because Gillette is still rude to them. Gillette now brags to Urville and Krishna about being a noblewoman. Urville and Krishna discuss that Gillette is probably saying nasty things behind their backs because they don't care for her. Lysira agrees with them and thinks that Gillette wouldn't act like that for no reason. Lysira reflects on the fact that Gillette looks like a ghost and wonders what she is up to. The maids discuss that Lady Iris is still not wearing her wedding ring and that it was an arranged marriage. Gillette says that they probably skipped all the unnecessary formalities for the benefit of their families. One of the maids mentions that the Earl does behave indifferently, and while working at another mansion, even arranged marriages had a feast. Gillette, on the other hand, is their personal maid and would probably not lie. The maids discuss that Gillette has a talent for gathering information and wonder what news she will bring next. They remark that thanks to Lady Iris, they now have time to talk, but they are interrupted by a man and apologize. The man notes that the Earl and his wife are becoming more and more discussed among the maids. He decides not to interfere for now, as he is busy with other matters. The heroine greets the man. He asks if he has come to see Lysire, and the man confirms that Lady Iris asked him to. The man notices that he finally has some free time and explains that he was trying to find a way to meet the heroine by taking Jamie's job. The heroine laughs and thanks him for his efforts. The heroine sits at her desk reading a book. The man asks if she is resting, and if she is too busy today. She replies that she has gotten some free time. He mentions that Gillette has a talent for gathering information and wonders what news she will bring next. She agrees. The three women talk, and one of them notices that they are relaxed enough to chat. A man appears and the women apologize to him. The man walks down the hallway with papers in hand and reflects on the fact that the Count and his wife are being discussed more and more by the maids. He says he is letting the situation go as he is busy with other matters. The woman agrees and wonders what she is thinking. The man and woman are working together, and the man asks if the man has come to see Lysira. The man answers in the affirmative, adding that Lady Iris asked him to come. The man offers to take the papers for Lysira and asks the other man to leave. The man is surprised and somewhat embarrassed, but agrees. Lysira reads the book and calls out Kai's name. Kai answers her, asking if she has been resting and if she is too busy. She replies that she hasn't, and wonders what he's doing here at this hour. He replies that he had some free time and decided to find a way to meet her by taking Jamie's job. He laughs when she points out that he's been very busy lately. Lysira asks Kai if he's finished looking around the mansion. She replies that she hasn't seen everything yet. Kai offers to go together and complete the inspection. Kai takes Lysira's hand and offers to go with him to finish the tour. He mentions that Jamie was talking about an angry dog that showed its teeth. Lysira assumes it's because of bad parenting. Kai and Lysira walk down the stairs holding hands, and she expresses surprise. The hero mentions that Gillette told him that Lysira was in her care. He is surprised and interjects if that is indeed the case. Lysira confirms, adding that he probably didn't expect Gillette to help her through the night. She assumes that's the reason he was avoiding her. He laughs and agrees with that. Lysira expresses the idea that no one can touch her the way he does, and no one can be that close. He asks why she has allowed Gillette to act so freely. Lysira replies that Mercy's family is very helpful, but in the end, it's useless. He agrees and offers to show her a big secret instead of dealing with a naughty dog. Lysira is interested in the secret, and he asks her to follow him. The hero asks how far they have to go. He replies that it is quite near. They come to a gloomy place, and he says that it is somewhat ominous, but there are valuable things there. A large black dog appears. He says he can only open the door with his claws. Inside is a sacred relic, a place where magic disappears. The hero explains that finding a mage is like a needle in a haystack right now, and the value of magical items is skyrocketing. He warns Lysira to be careful, as everyone is looking for special relics and those who can handle them. They approach a sacred relic and he warns her to never touch it, as it is an item that ordinary people should avoid. He mentions that there is a secret that if someone without powers touches a sacred relic, they are more likely to die than stay alive. He says that there have been cases where being near the relic has caused problems. Lysira recalls that long ago there were people called relic mages who could use them. She asks if there are any now. He replies that there probably are, but finding them is dangerous. If you get it wrong, the soul could end up trapped in a body unable to move. He shows her relatively safe items: a golden goblet that pours grain endlessly, a sword of death that perfectly heals or kills if stuck in the heart of a wounded person, a staff that can control beasts, and a mysterious mantle that makes the body invisible. Suddenly, Lysira notices an unexpected guest. He remembers that it was by the lake where he and Iris first kissed. He vividly remembers how Iris's eyelashes trembled at that moment. It was so beautiful and touching that he then made the decision to marry her. The maids, hearing his words, marvel at the romance of the story. One of the men thinks it is madness and does not understand how it happened. He adds that Iris must feel the same way. A woman in the crowd thinks it was all just a stunt and can't believe the others reacted that way. Suddenly, someone notices the Earl's return, and the maids quickly leave. He returns and greets his lord. The lord replies that a guest has just arrived. He notices that while he was gone, the guest had time to chat a bit. He offers to buy the gold mine that the lord was going to give to the Duke of Whitlow, and is willing to offer a good price above market value. The lord is displeased and wonders why the matter is being brought up out of the blue. He explains that he wants to buy the mine as it may be more profitable than the gold mine itself. The lord tries to object, but the other man insists that it's important. The lord argues in anger that Iris is his woman and no one else can claim her. He reminds the man that even though he is an earl, it has been a long time since he has shown proper respect and courtesy. The man objects that the conversation is going nowhere else. He states that he can't let this happen, and adds that Iris would not be happy with such a domineering man. The man believes that he can make her happy despite all the problems. He thinks it's best to change the conversation. The count says that he won't just stand by and watch. The man asks to calm down and notes that if anyone sees them, they'll think it's torture. He explains that he only wanted to buy the gold mine, but what the count says makes him angry. The count yells that he won't give him the mine, and the man insists that he can make Lysira happy. He claims that he will not dominate her and only wants what is best for her. The count thinks the conversation has reached an impasse. He adds that he considers Lysira his woman. The man says he can't listen to his nonsensical speeches anymore. The count doesn't believe he can get out of here alive and calls the guards. Other men appear and confirm his words. The man decides to leave them alone so they can talk. He informs them that the Viscount will have to sign a contract. Lysira is surprised that the gold mine can be bought without her involvement. She doubts that it was worth provoking him so much. Lysira ponders that this lays the groundwork. Viscount Hatch wanted to trade the gold mine since it was depleted, but just because the gold ran out, the value of the mine does not disappear. The reason why the Whitlow family was able to expand its influence was because of this mine. This time, she's not going to let that happen. She asks Jamie for one more favor to find someone. This person used to work for the Whitlow family and should have left a trail. But since he was kicked out, he's probably in hiding. She hopes Jamie can find him. At this point, they end their discussion. One of the women remarks that it's made even more interesting by that stupid man. They discuss the rumors about the Whitlow family and pass them on. The servants in the workshop discuss the story and begin to spread the rumors. They have heard the strange rumors, and now it all becomes clear. The woman says it was a strange story. She had heard rumors of Countess Green's adultery. Another woman is outraged when she heard about it and wonders when her brother got married. One of the women calls another woman to look at something important. The woman is surprised and wonders what is going on. The other shows her an article in the newspaper. The article talks about a ducal family known throughout the continent of Aileron. The woman asks if it's Iris. The headline of the article reads, "The Secret Life of the Countess." It was recently revealed that the ducal daughter known as the Duke's Flower has received the protection of the Holy Kingdom. However, despite her ties to the Count's family, strange rumors began to circulate that the wedding never took place. It turned out that the Duke's Flower, which was thought to be pure and white, was actually rotten all the way down to the root. The woman wonders if it was all a hoax by the new Countess. They discuss the rumors, and one of them confirms that the rumors were spread that way. The woman asks if it is all true. The other woman recalls that Iris was supposed to marry Viscount Hatch, and wonders how she could have married Earl Green. They discuss that Iris liked Viscount Hatch and often followed him. The woman confirms this, adding that this is what happened. She thinks that even if she dies, she won't be able to tell Iris that Earl Green came first and proposed. She never thought Viscount Hatch would be able to take Lysira away from Earl Green. Her goal was to show how lecherous Iris was, and eventually Iris would be excluded from the Green family. Another woman believes that Iris is kind and that it must be a false rumor. She wonders what the false rumor is and if Gerithian knows about it. The woman confirms that the rumor has already reached Jerushan, and if it was her, she wouldn't be left out. Jerushan is also close to Countess Nalantius, and this raises questions for the woman she is talking to. They discuss that Countess Nalantius was passionately in love with Sibrand Green before her marriage, but he neglected her. Even now, when they occasionally meet at banquets, she looks at him with warm eyes. Meanwhile, Lysira tells the man that he didn't have to go with her, but he replies that he's stronger than Nathan and Wallace. She admits it, but she feels bad for making him go when he was busy. She says this is her first marriage and she doesn't know much. She wonders if people usually think a wife gives her husband a hard time if he accompanies her on a trip. He says he doesn't think so, and she calms down. She doesn't want to attract too much outside attention. She dresses modestly to avoid spreading rumors. He agrees with her, but notes that she is already attracting attention. He admits that he has a hard time taking his eyes off her. They remember that they didn't finish something last time. She is surprised, but then they start kissing. She reminds him that last time he fell asleep while he was kissing her. He laughs and says that won't happen today. They continue kissing, and she feels his touch tickling her. She reminds him that they are in a carriage, but he ignores it. She thinks about how every time he touches her, it gives her a shiver. Her lips touch his lips, and she feels his body pressed against hers. She doesn't know what to do, and she feels shivers all over her body. This is the first time she has ever felt this way. She thinks about the past tense and doesn't know how to react. He asks her to relax. He says he won't do anything she doesn't like, and if something is not to her liking, she should say so. She mentions that her younger sister always said that if you don't listen to women, you're trash. He asks if she has a younger sister. She confirms and tells him that her little sister is a bit unusual. Elsewhere, different animals appear: a lion, a leopard, an eagle, and a deer. The woman is furious and asks if anyone has anything to say to her. Other people make excuses that they didn't know the Lord was married after signing the marriage contract. She rebukes them for not informing the family, even though it was too late. They apologize, and she notices that Jen is very angry. She doesn't care about their apology and says she's going to stay here until the wolf comes. She threatens that if they want to live, they should tell him to come back immediately. They arrive at the place, and the hero says that he didn't know she would want to come to a place like this. Lysira replies that she is interested in meeting the man who made him come here. She offers to come inside and she introduces him. The man inside is surprised and asks who they are. He remembers Lysira, wondering if it's her. Lysira greets him, saying that it's been a long time. She introduces the hero, saying it's Gouger. The hero was the former steward of the Duke of Whitlow's estate. He can't believe how Lady Iris has grown up to become a respected heirloom keeper and wife of the Earl of Green. The man is happy for her and wishes her happiness. The heroine thanks him for his concern, remembering that he was one of the few people who helped her at Whitlow House. She explains that she came to him with a request. She wants him to become the manager of the Lavant gold mine, which she now owns. The man is surprised and asks if the mine belongs to Viscount Hatch. The heroine explains that it now belongs to her, and she wants him to take responsibility for running the mine. The man doubts that he can take such responsibility, calling himself an alcoholic. The hero arrived at his destination and was surprised that the heroine wanted to come here. She explained that she wanted to meet the man for whom the hero had come. The man, upon seeing the heroine, asked who she was and then recognized her and was glad to meet her. The heroine introduced the man to the hero. The man recalls how he was steward to the Duke of Whitlow and how the heroine grew up and became famous. He is pleased that she has become an heirloom keeper and seems happy. The heroine thanks the man for his care and remembers how he was one of the few people who cared for her in the house. The man remarks that the heroine was treated too harshly there. The hero reflects that even though he was told about the man's situation beforehand, he is still surprised that the heroine came to him for help. The heroine explains to the man that she has come with a request. She wants to hire him as the manager of the Lavant gold mine. The man is surprised, as he is now just a drunkard. The heroine assures the man that it doesn't matter if he can handle the job. She just wants to entrust him with her sole possession. The man, realizing the importance of this request, agrees and promises to live for the Countess. Outside, the heroine tells the hero that she did not plan to bring the man to the mansion, but wants to hire him as manager of the gold mine. She emphasizes that the hero's subordinates will always remain his, not hers. The hero realizes that the man is just the man she needs. The heroine explains to the hero that the man will then be recognized by the emperor and summoned to the imperial court. The hero ponders that meddling too much in his wife's affairs is not attractive. The heroine agrees that this is a good idea. The man informs her that his younger sister, Gerithian, is now at the manor and has probably been there for about a day. The heroine thinks that she may have found out about her marriage because of Alfred's reputation. She remains silent as she reflects on her new life and her husband's family, who have proven to be rude and oppressive. Looking back at the past, she recalls how the husband's family blamed her for her inability to bear children and even suggested that it be resolved by a flogging. The heroine reflects on how much she was hated and despised by her husband's family. She decides that this time will be different and she will be judged differently. The man asks how long she is going to wait before she makes the first move, hinting at rumors. She wonders if he has been hurt because of the rumors, and he replies that it hasn't happened yet, but the future is unknown. The heroine believes that the rumors may become more valuable over time and asks if they should be stopped. At the castle, they discuss the Count's return before evening and the need to clean up. That woman was evil. Evil lady turns out. The woman threatens that if she finds any place poorly cleaned, she will whip the maid. Then she notices Nathan and asks him a question: who is the woman pretending to be the mistress? He replies that he had already told her several times. She is Gillette Murdy, the heroine's personal maid. The woman wonders why Gillette behaves as if she were the mistress and why Nathan allows it. He explains that there is nothing he can do since Gillette is the lady's personal maid. The woman is annoyed and ponders why the heroine hasn't taught her maid how to behave properly. To make matters worse, ridiculous rumors are spreading and reach the newspapers and magazines. She thinks that her brother is acting foolishly. At that moment, the Count appears and greets them. The woman decides that she will see how much of a delicate flower the heroine is. She informs her that she saw an interesting article on the way home. The heroine notices that the article has many stories about her. She thinks that the source of the article is not from their home. She smiles as she notices Gillette and the other maids and thinks that if these people belong to her, that must be the way it is. The woman recognizes that her new daughter-in-law seems to have the same temperament as she does. The protagonist realizes that marriage is a complex and important event that cannot be accomplished alone. While marriages for love are considered desirable and romantic, marriage also remains a meaningful union between two families with political and social significance. Unfortunately, in the hustle and bustle and anxiety of recent events, he accidentally forgot to inform his family about his marriage. This omission worries him as he realizes how important family support is in such an important matter. The heroine, noticing his worried state, wonders what he has told her. He explains that his head was full of thoughts and worries, and the moment he saw her face, all his thoughts vanished, leaving only a sense of elation and forgetfulness. This unexpected recognition causes her to have mixed feelings. On the one hand, she is pleased by his attention, but on the other hand, she is concerned about his ability to be so easily distracted that it makes her work and interactions with others difficult. The woman, despite her feelings, feels annoyed that the captain is so easily distracted that it makes her job more difficult. She thinks about her brother and the fact that their parents still don't know Gillette. This thought adds to her anxiety as she doesn't want her brother to be in a bad situation because of a misunderstanding. She asks to write a letter to Earl Nork, believing that this is the best way to prove herself as a good son and avoid further problems. The hero agrees to her suggestion, realizing the importance of this step. He tells the heroine that he will pick her up before dinner to discuss the necessary details, and she accepts his offer gratefully. The hero, realizing his guilt for suddenly dining with Geratin without prior notice, apologizes to the heroine. However, she argues that no apology is required, showing generosity and understanding. He mentions that he has two younger brothers and that Geratin is the youngest of them. She is a bit immature and has a complex personality, which sometimes creates additional difficulties in communication. Nathan, reflecting on the woman's complex nature, recalls that the heroine has always understood difficult situations and people. The heroine, in turn, confirms that she understands the complexity of Geratin's character and is willing to help in this situation. The hero exclaims, "Nathan," and expresses his desire to dine with the captain, as he is not sure that a complex girl can handle a conversation with the countess. He thinks there are differences between a common nobleman and a knight, but they are almost like family, and wants everyone to understand that. He wonders about Geratin's character, since everyone is concerned about it, and wants to know more about her. The hero asks the countess to ignore Geratin's words, as there is nothing meaningful in them and they should not affect their relationship. The countess agrees and says that if things get too bad, she will deal with it herself with determination and confidence. Nathan is surprised that Geratin is a lady and calls her brave, admiring her courage. Geratin realizes the meaning of the word courage when he meets the countess face to face. The countess greets Geratin and asks her brother to stop talking, showing her power and confidence. Geratin, recognizing that the countess is the heroine, realizes that she must listen to her and respect her authority. Geratin introduces herself and asks to be called Jen, trying to establish a closer and friendlier relationship. The countess introduces herself and says that she has recently married Kiebrant, emphasizing her new status. Geratin, trying to get closer, asks to call her sister. The countess is unexpectedly surprised by this suggestion, but sees it as an opportunity to strengthen family ties. They have just registered their marriage, and it is still new and unusual for them. The woman exclaims that this is madness and wonders what they are up to, trying to understand their motives. The man explains that he wants to get to know the Countess better and that she has almost passed the test of fitting in with their family, showing his interest and concern. He then asks the brother if he knows what rumors are going around about Countess Green. The brother replies that he is aware of them, and this causes concern. The man realizes that the rumors are false, but believes that they are temporary and that if nothing is done, the situation will only get worse. The woman offers to clear things up and show everyone that Countess Green is beloved and worthy of a grand wedding. The man agrees to her proposal and undertakes the organization of the wedding, intending to make it unforgettable and solemn. The heroine enjoys her free time under the tree, reflecting that she didn't expect to have free time when they have guests. She feels that Kay is being reprimanded, but it turns out that there was nothing to worry about. The woman even finds time to read a book called The History of the Holy Kingdom. The book describes how the Holy Kingdom came to reject beastmen. Long ago, it was known that a man named Benedrum, who was to be the next pope, turned out to be a beastman. It was later revealed what kind of beastman he was. This became the starting point of the first Beastman Rebellion. At the time, beastmen were considered equal to humans, but depending on their transformation, they could either be ridiculed or revered. Benedrum transformed into a mouse, and this caused a commotion throughout the Holy Kingdom and the entire continent, as the mouse is known for spreading disease. The heroine is surprised by this fact, believing it to be unfair, as disease and beastmen have nothing to do with each other. Benedrum was a righteous and honest man, but could not suppress the public opinion of mice as dirty animals. A servant of God who turns into a dirty little mouse hid this fact by becoming a respected high priest aspiring to be the next pope. Even the pope had turned his back on him, following public opinion, leaving Benedrum in isolation. He was deeply hurt by the changing attitudes toward him from the priests, society, and the pope himself. Eventually, Benedrum gathered other beastmen facing a similar fate and started the first Beastman Rebellion against the Holy Kingdom. The heroine reads this and understands the story. At this time, a man approaches her and calls her by name, drawing her attention. The man, named Kay, ends his conversation with Jen and suggests that the two of them go for a walk. The heroine notices that he has a cute nickname and asks how he got that nickname. He tells her that he was able to transform from birth and didn't think it was strange, and his family accepted him for who he was. Over time, the man realized that he was an outcast in society, and if his secret became known, he could be killed, leading him to despair. When he was in wolf form, he only ate and slept all day, which made him gain weight, and Jen started calling him Fat Dog. The heroine apologizes, unaware of this history, but Kay replies that there's nothing to apologize for. Kay tells Lysira that being a beastman means always being in danger of death, but they're in the same boat. And mentions that even though his sister sometimes calls him weird nicknames, she told him yesterday that in dangerous situations, it's better to be safe than sorry. He then proposes to Lysira, saying that they won't be able to have a ceremony, but it doesn't matter since she's never cared for such things. Lysira agrees. Kay reflects that he has learned a lot about beastmen and wants to make up for the hurt he once caused. He proposes to arrange a wedding. Suddenly, Jen bursts in, happily announcing that she will be throwing the wedding, surprising Lysira, who asks who is preparing her own wedding. Lysira asks Jen if it was difficult for her to organize the wedding, since she hasn't gotten married herself yet. Jen replies that she has a trusted friend who will help her. She then says that she wants to organize a wedding that no one can criticize. Lysira mentions that another guest should be coming soon to investigate the rumors about her. Jen confirms that it will be a priest from the Holy Kingdom. A few days later, a priest comes to see Earl Green. He informs him that the Pope is very unhappy about the rumors concerning the Green family, as it affects the reputation of the Holy Kingdom. The priest adds that it is not only troubling that Kay married without the Pope's permission, but also that these unfavorable rumors are spreading throughout the continent. Kay responds by expressing surprise that his marriage requires the Pope's approval. The priest points out the Green family's high position due to the Pope's favor. Kay states that the Pope's favor is not a favor, but a necessity, since only the Green family can safely handle the sacred relics. The Green family is the only one capable of finding, preserving, and protecting these relics. The priest demands respect for himself as the Pope's representative and declares that the Holy Kingdom does not recognize Lysira as his lawful wife, ordering Kay to divorce her and marry a woman chosen by the kingdom. Kay doubts the authenticity of the priest's words, but the latter insists that it is the Pope's order. Kay begins to question the veracity of the rumors about his wife and how even reputable newspapers publish articles without fact-checking. He explains that marriage is a vow to God, not to the kingdom or the Pope. Kay warns that if the rumors turn out to be false, the Pope will have to attend their wedding, bless their marriage, and formally apologize for the damage done. The woman asks if Kay really said that. When she confirms it, she reflects on the Pope and thinks that Kay has made a bold move. She notes that the Pope doesn't even attend the Emperor's coronation, just sending letters, and is surprised that Kay asked him to come in person. She decides that she must also spring into action. The Countess is rumored to be throwing a party for ordinary people to attend. Some people in town debate whether to go because the rumors about the Countess are not good. However, they decide to go and have fun at the party, hoping that nothing strange will happen. The maids discuss the party and decide that they can go too if there is no urgent work to do. The head maid emphasizes that they must do their jobs well for the rest of the day to afford the fun. They agree and start working harder, noticing that the head maid is just as excited as they are. One of the maids complains that the other maid always acts arrogant because she is the Viscount's daughter, and now she is taking time out to sneak into a party for the commoners, neglecting her duties. The protagonist reasons that perhaps Lysira is too kind to her. Krishna, another maid, greets Lysira and informs her that she has checked the other maid's reactions as she was asked. However, Lysira notes that the rumors are becoming more and more exaggerated due to what is published in newspapers and magazines. She wonders why she would invite people who believe such nonsense, believing that they do not know the meaning of gratitude. The maids seem more excited, but nothing significantly new. Lysira learns that the town is full of excitement about the upcoming party. Lysira explains that she decided to have the party because the fruit is most delicious when picked at its peak, and if you wait too long out of greed, it will just rot. She says that they must make this party perfect and instructs them to call Jamie to help with the preparations. One of the maids complains that she doesn't like anything and everything has to be perfect tonight. She says that Lysira must be the prettiest on this day since it is her first official appearance as Countess Green. Another maid asks her to keep her voice down as Lysira is changing her clothes. The woman replies that she cannot remain quiet and shows her a choice of 2 necklaces, one large and shiny, the other the most expensive. She is told to be careful with the jewelry so as not to break it. A man asks where Lysira is and is told that she is inside, changing with the maids. He says that the maids can go, as the only thing left to do is to pick out the accessories. The woman adds that they have to get ready for the party. The red-haired maid says that she doesn't like parties, but she is immediately silenced and leaves to get ready. The man wishes them luck, commenting that everyone is working hard and he is welcomed as a lord. The man tells the heroine that she looks especially beautiful today and that he was worried she wouldn't make it, but now he's glad. He asks about Ervil and Krishna, to which the woman replies that she has sent them off to get ready. He says he will help her with the decorations. The heroine is surprised to see the jewelry and asks when he came. The man says he can handle it himself, but the heroine says no, he can't, and adds that since he didn't tell her his plans for the day, she'll do her own thing too. He wonders what she knew about Jamie's ability to turn into an animal, and the woman says that's something she shouldn't have known. The man shows her the jewelry he has chosen, and she is surprised. The heroine ponders if she will ever be able to tell him the truth that she has lived and died once before. The life that was supposed to end continued in her second incarnation. She doubts if anyone will believe it and how she will be treated even if they do. She doesn't have the strength to defend herself, but she hopes that one day she will have a chance to explain herself. The man says it's time to leave and they'll be out soon. He suggests they stop fooling around and go. The heroine agrees. The man notices that the heroine is brooding again. She is surprised by his touch and realizes that he has distracted her from her thoughts. The heroine didn't expect even the nearby noblewomen to come to the event, but it went well. She assumed that they were probably curious about the man around whom the rumors were circulating. She thinks there is nothing to discuss among the noblewomen and declares that she is the most beautiful one here today. A message arrives announcing the arrival of Count and Countess Green. The heroine is happy to see so many people and is really pleased. The woman in the background finds it all boring, but is surprised at the sight of the arrivals. She notices that there is nothing special about the presence of the Count and Countess and doesn't understand why there is so much noise around them. She is annoyed by the attention to them. When she sees the couple approaching, she recognizes that they are impressive. The crowd finds them beautiful and admires them, which angers the woman even more. She doesn't understand why everyone is so smitten. One of the onlookers asks why their daughter is dressed that way. The man agrees that everything looks great, thanks to the heroine, who organized this grand event. The woman clarifies that she didn't invite the guests, but gets the reply that her invitations were sufficient for their presence. She is greeted by the other guests and is delighted by their arrival. She reflects on how many are already surprised, thinking that the heroine is afraid she will steal all the attention. However, she notes that the event is going beautifully as it is. The heroine greets the guests, thanking them for attending, and states that at an event like this, she doesn't need to be thanked for the invitation. The hero says he will handle the situation himself. He apologizes for being rude. The man asks if this party was thrown to clear up the truth about the rumors. The hero replies that he is not going to clear up the rumors and wishes everyone a good time. At this point, a journalist appears and asks if the Countess is aware of the latest rumors surrounding her. The hero explains that the rumors are being investigated by the Holy Kingdom, and that it's not a matter that can simply be left aside. He asks the journalist what newspaper he is from. The journalist replies that he is from the Widdink Ellerbo and asks for an interview with Countess Green. The journalist states that people who have already heard sensational news only believe what they want to believe. The Countess believes it is enough for her husband and family to know that the rumors are nothing more than malicious gossip. The journalist reflects on the reputation of his newspaper, known for its trusted journalism despite controversy. He recalls that in the past, his newspaper protested an unjust murder that drew the emperor's ire and led to an execution. Ellerbo is a newspaper with branches in many countries on the continent, the largest and most respected. The hero, reflecting on the journalist's faith, anticipated his appearance at the party, assuming that the journalist would want to know the truth about his story. Despite Kay's possible displeasure, the hero feels it is necessary for him to do so. Kay comforts Lysira by saying that everyone wants to know about her private affairs. The journalist agrees to their terms. The red-haired woman reasons that it's time to find out the truth and wonders if it's time for her to speak up. Baron Jamie Russell introduces himself, saying that he aspires to be a knight of the Celestial Kingdom and that he is a loyal steward to all present. The Baron declares that instead of the Countess finding out the truth about the rumors herself, he will take over. He asks the journalists to raise their hands and, pointing to one of them, asks if he is from the publication that first published the article about Countess Green. The journalist is startled and admits that he is. Baron Jamie Russell asks the journalist where he heard the rumor and wrote it down. The journalist admits that it was just a rumor that he did not verify. Baron points out that the article was written based on a rumor, and the journalist agrees. Baron contacts another journalist who was the first to publish the article, and the journalist admits that he conducted the interview. The Baron asks the woman who participated in the interview if she personally saw Countess Green's meeting with Viscount Hatch. She replies that she had heard about it as well. A chain of accusations begins as each points to the other, saying that they too have heard rumors. The woman in the red dress, Gillette, is nervous and, to avoid questions, says she heard the rumor from the maids. The Baron doubts the veracity of Gillette's words, but she insists on her version, saying that the servants saw everything with their own eyes. The Baron points out that Gillette is lying and tries to find out the real reason for her lies. She claims that everyone is jealous of her. The Baron decides to personally summon Viscount Hatch to clarify the situation and suggests that they reassemble all the pieces of the story together. Baron Jamie, troubled, asks Viscount Alfred Hatch if he has ever mentioned a past affair with the Countess Green. Alfred confidently denies it, wondering where such a rumor came from. However, Gillette insists, claiming that Alfred spoke of it on his last visit to Count Green. Alfred continues to deny his words, not understanding why he would spread such a rumor, and feeling increasingly uncomfortable with the conflict brewing. Gillette tries to justify himself by referring to the maids who supposedly could have heard the words. However, Baron Jamie has already interviewed the maids, and they flatly deny this information. Gillette insists that the maids are lying, perhaps to get rid of her. In this tense moment, Gillette's parents plead with the Countess and Count Green, asking forgiveness for their daughter, realizing that the situation is becoming increasingly confusing and unpleasant. Countess Lycera and her husband, the Earl, watch with interest. Lycera notes to herself that Gillette is too old for her parents to apologize for her actions. Gillette gradually realizes her mistake, realizing that her attempt to slander the Green family was wrong. She admits that her actions were motivated by admiration and envy. Baron Jamie, addressing the Viscount, says that no apology is required from Alfred. Gillette, realizing that she must take responsibility, apologizes for spreading false rumors and asks for punishment. However, Countess Lycera, showing her magnanimity, decides not to punish Gillette, given her honest confession and apology. Those present admire Lycera's wisdom and nobility. One of the journalists present notes to himself that Lycera is a masterful player of politics and that her actions will attract the attention of many journalists, spreading her story and enhancing her reputation. He also realizes that Lycera has thus made it clear who is right and who is at fault. After this incident, Lycera and her husband leave the event reflecting on what happened. Lycera thinks about her reputation and when she will be able to rid herself of the title Duke's Flower, which, while it brings her respect, imposes certain expectations and responsibilities. She is relieved that she was able to handle the situation with dignity and without unnecessary conflict. Later, Kay arrives at Lycera's bathroom, carrying wine and fruit. He suggests that they celebrate their wedding and toast to the removal of the stigma and their upcoming happy life. Lycera agrees, noting that Jen has already sent out the invitations. Kay reports that all matters with the Holy Kingdom have been resolved, and now only blessings remain. Lycera is pleased that everything has ended safely and that she can now focus on the upcoming feast. Kay, curious about her experience, asks if Lycera has ever been to a wedding. She replies that she hasn't, and Kay says that their wedding will be eventful and memorable. He advises Lycera to rest when she gets a chance so she can be ready for the festivities. Lycera, feeling loved and secure, reflects on how she wishes she could be one with Kay, and feels a deep sense of gratitude to have such a man by her side. Lycera recalls moments from her past when her husband found out about her relationship with another man after their wedding. This moment was painful and humiliating for her. He beat her, accusing her of cheating on him, and those beatings left not only physical wounds but also deep emotional scars. Brittany, wielding considerable influence and power, regularly humiliated Lysera, making her feel worthless. She constantly reminded her that even in her battered state, Lysera should be able to seduce men, which only added to her humiliation. Lysera reflects on the fact that Brittany has been oppressing her since childhood, making her feel inferior and devoid of dignity. At another ball, Lysera is being groomed to perform an important role. She wonders how her life would have turned out if the man Brittany was in love with had not paid attention to her. Perhaps things would have been different and she wouldn't be in this position. Thinking back on past events, Lysera tries to deal with her emotions while at the magnificent banquet. Her thoughts return to the pain in her calves, which is getting worse by the day, and she realizes that her wounds are not healing. Despite her inability to rest at home, Lysera decides that it is still better than staying where she is now. She hopes not to meet Kbrand Green, Brittany's lover, and avoids his company. That day, Lysera was glad it rained because there was no one around and the cold drops temporarily cooled her burning pain. She knew that she could have been mistaken for crazy if anyone saw her in that state, but she didn't care about that, she only cared about the pain. She decided to return home before Alfred noticed her absence. She needed to attend the party. However, as suspicions about Piemondo's movements had become too strong, Lysera met Kbrand Green unexpectedly and was surprised by his presence. Kbrand was discussing earrings with Jamie, which seemed to be a shrine. Lysera was surprised to meet them at this place when she thought no one would be there. Kbrand took the earrings for a closer inspection and warned Jamie to be careful with Piemondo. Kbrand Green says that he's been aware of Lysera's presence for some time and asks who she is. Lysera gives her name and tries to excuse herself. Kbrand notices that it's raining and asks if she's feeling ill. Lysera assures him that she's fine and asks Kbrand not to ask for help and to ignore her. She admits that patience and secrecy won't solve all problems, but asks him to stay out of it anyway. Kbrand points out that some people can only survive by patience and secrecy. He gives her medicine to prevent the scars on her legs, and promises to keep their meeting a secret. Lysera thanks him. Kbrand Green gives Lysera earrings, explaining that they bring good luck. Lysera wonders why he is giving them to her, and thinks that luck is more needed by Viscount Hatch herself. Kbrand hopes that luck will always be with Lysera. Lysera recalls that it was the first and last time she spoke to Kbrand that rainy day. Although it was the only time they were alone together, that small gesture of kindness was memorable for the rest of her life. Lysera realizes that ever since she met Kara, she started to feel sympathy for him. She wants to save him in this life because Kara was the only light for her in those times. Lysera thanks him and is glad she can say that. Kbrand realizes that his heart beats faster when he is around Lysera. He finds it hard to contain his feelings, but he tries to do so. Lysera notices his embarrassment and wonders why he reacts the way he does. The next day, Kbrand meets Wallace and Jamie. They notice his red face and wonder why he is so embarrassed. Kbrand tells Wallace to stay away and admits that he doesn't want to talk. Wallace doesn't understand what's going on and Jamie explains that Kbrand is going through a difficult time. Jamie informs Kbrand that Nora's contacted them about the wedding invitations and that it's best for him to talk to him himself. Kbrand agrees and goes to the communications room. Some time ago, mages and engineers joined forces to create a communicator. Along with official communication stations, authorized individuals were also allowed to own communicators, making it easier to communicate between them. Kara didn't expect it to cause such problems, but he decided to contact his father. His father was very angry, but Kara explained that there were circumstances. His father replied that he and his mother trusted him more than the newspapers. Kara knew that his parents didn't believe what they'd read, and his father wanted to understand the circumstances. He asked what Kara had given to Lysera. Kara replied that he had given nothing, and his father continued that he had heard about the transfer of the mine. Father thought that Duke Whitlow was a greedy man. Kara's mother continued to insist that the Duke was selling his daughter to create envy and raise her price. Kara continued to deny that he had given anything to the Duke. His father, upon learning of the transfer of the mine, was upset and believed that Kara had become a liar. Kara realized that his parents could hear him, but they were certain that he had done wrong by trading valuables for a woman. Kara ended the conversation by explaining that Lysira, meaning Iris, had agreed. She was no longer Lady Whitlow, but Countess Green now. Cabrant Green had learned from his parents that they were leaving and should be prepared for a possible divorce if Lady Whitlow married against her will. He agreed, realizing that he needed to clear up a misunderstanding with Countess Green. Meanwhile, the ladies discussed how Lady Brittany was probably happy that her sister was now happy. They also mentioned the rumors of Iris' nightly visits to Earl Green. One of the ladies suggested that it might have been due to jealousy. Lady Brittany received the letter, and when she opened it, she saw an invitation to the wedding of the Earl and Countess of Cabrant Green to Iris. This caused her surprise and indignation that the wedding would be to that girl. The blonde woman asks who is officiating the wedding and reads that it is Countess Nalanicus Janel. The other woman sitting next to her sees that she has gone pale and asks what's wrong. They discuss that the Earl and Countess Green are getting married. The blonde woman thinks that the Countess has realized what rumors are surrounding her, which is probably why she put pressure on Count Green. She is perplexed as to how the Countess could be so unscrupulous and how she could force someone to marry her against their will. They continue to discuss that the Countess never went out and was never part of high society. One of the women remarks that the Countess name makes her laugh. The blonde woman states that their Iris is marrying Earl Green and laughs that Countess Nalanicus Janel will be the hostess of the wedding. She says that this is the best thing that could have happened and encourages everyone to celebrate. A woman examines the fabric samples and approves them. She instructs her to send 2 samples to Countess Green. The other woman admires her diligence and remembers that she had been reluctant to do this before. The woman explains that she could not refuse the request. She discusses with the other woman how her brother thinks it is okay to spend all the money to organize an important wedding. They talk about the importance of the wedding and how it requires the help of the social goddess, Countess Janel. The woman mentions that Earl Green's reputation was almost ruined by registering the marriage at the office. She asks if the Earl really married Whitlow Flower. The woman replies that yes, and understands why men are so fascinated by her, as her beauty is not conveyed even in portraits. The woman confesses that she does not know how the rumor spread that the Earl was interested in her. She expresses her indifference to Earl Green. She explains that the only reason she is involved in this wedding is to be part of Countess Green's important event, surrounded by rumors. Her presence with the Countess will silence everyone. She asks to prepare Countess Green for the surprise and says she found a book to better understand Kara. The more she reads, the more she understands the situation with Bestia, and it makes her uneasy. The first attempt at a Beastman rebellion ended in failure, but Benedetta didn't give up. Barely surviving, he lurked in the shadows, quietly gathering people to help him. Benedetta claimed that becoming a Beastman was not a curse, but a gift from God. The Pope persecutes Beastmen because of feelings of inferiority. The magicians who lacked faith agreed with what he said. Benedetta, who incited the talented people with false words, started a second Beastman rebellion. This war was deadly. The eastern sea of Almas turned blood red. The woman thinks that if life continues on the same path as in the past, Kara will start the third Beastman rebellion. She understands the motives, but believes it cannot continue. To prevent Kara's demise, she decides that the only way to stop the war is to change the situation in his favor. As the woman was reading, a man in a robe entered the room. She was surprised by his sudden appearance. The man told her to continue reading, but the woman was embarrassed to see him like this. The man sat down next to her and she tried to focus on the book. The man asked the woman why she had that look on her face again. She asked not to be teased and said that something was wrong. She explained that her parents were very angry after they found out about the wedding. They would probably be arriving in 2 days, and she didn't expect them to be so upset. The woman said that she had never introduced the woman to them, so she didn't know what they would say. The man stated that he had never met another woman. The woman called him a liar and asked why he was lying. He replied that there was no reason to lie and asked if he was handsome. The woman admitted that he was handsome and that she wanted to kiss him. She wondered why he'd been acting like that since Jen had visited them. The man said he would kiss her. The woman thought he'd gotten like that over time, and he apologized for getting too carried away. He explained that he felt differently when she said he was handsome. The woman replied that it was okay. The man promised that he would try to prevent it, but warned that her parents might hurt her. The man said he hated the thought of his wife getting used to this kind of thing. The woman replied that she was already used to it. The man said that wounds heal, and he would make sure that the new skin didn't get a scratch. The woman admitted that even after becoming a weak and crying lady, she would try not to lean on him. She no longer wanted to be the flower of anyone. The man thanked her and agreed. He added that if she wanted to, she could cry all she wanted. The woman replied that she no longer wanted to live as someone's flower. A long time passed, and they arrived at the estate. The man expressed his regret that they were here for that reason, and the woman agreed. They met the parents who greeted them, asking how they were doing and calling the man their son. The parents sat and watched the woman, noting her beauty and perfection. The man pondered that perhaps the Duke treasured his daughter so much that he hid her from the world. However, he did not like the fact that his foolish son had captured such a woman. The man's mother wished to speak to the woman alone, asking her son to leave. He refused, stating that he could not leave his wife alone, especially when she was called Lady Whitlow. He admitted his guilt for the secret marriage, but stayed anyway. The mother asked the woman if she had really sold the gold mine. The woman began to explain. The man added that it would be better if they all listened to the story together. He acknowledged that what he would say might upset them and apologized in advance. The woman asked to be addressed by her first name and to speak to her comfortably. The man noted that the woman was gentle but determined, with lively eyes. The man's mother asked how the woman met Keybrand. The woman said that she went to Earl Green herself and proposed marriage to him. The man asked for a reason, and she confessed that she wanted to escape from the Duchy of Whitlow. Memories took the woman back in time to when she was a child. Her caretaker comforted her, telling her that she was fine. However, Brittany continued to harass her, asking her what she had done wrong. Brittany accused the woman of not knowing her place and daring to encroach on what was hers. The woman, not understanding how Brittany could say such things, tried to justify herself. Brittany thought that if it weren't for the woman, she would be the most beautiful in the kingdom. She continued to taunt, knocking the woman down and leaving her in the dirt. Brittany stated that this position suited the woman best and told her to stay there until she learned her lesson. The woman desperately asked Brittany to open the door, but Brittany walked away, leaving her locked in. The woman said she was locked in a dirty barn for several days. After that, she became afraid of small, dark rooms. She was constantly taunted and bullied by the Duke and Duchess. She worked like a servant, and even the servants didn't treat her like a lady. Though sometimes her story leaked out, only false rumors remained. The woman was known as Duke Whitlow's flower. The Duke planned to give her to Viscount Hatch in exchange for a gold mine. That's why she went to Earl Green. The woman explained this to those present. She was bright and had prepared a story that would garner sympathy for her from the start. She seemed calm, but was clearly frightened. The woman assured that there was no lie in her words. The man admitted that he had written letters to Lysira asking her to reveal Duke Whitlow's weaknesses. He wanted information about that family and a chance to interact with Whitlow Flower. The man was afraid that if his parents found out, it would cause problems. His father agreed that not everything could be believed, but he only wanted to ask Lysira one question. The woman confirmed that it was a better place to live than the Duchy of Whitlow, and added that she had never been happier in her life. The man's parents remarked that she was an intelligent and beautiful child, and even wished they had a daughter like her. They discussed that after Lysira's marriage, she became their daughter, and this feeling brought them joy. The parents expressed their hope that Lysira would no longer suffer. Meanwhile, in another part of the scene, the woman's name is Lady Brittany, and she is wished a happy journey. However, a sly and brooding look is seen on her face, giving the impression that she has secret plans. The woman in the dream apologizes to Brittany and asks her to forgive her. Suddenly, she wakes up in fear and sees a man nearby who asks what's wrong. She replies that everything is fine, but he realizes that she was having another nightmare. The man calms her down and promises to be there for her. It has been 3 days since they learned of Brittany's visit and 3 days since the woman's nightmares began. The man realizes that the news of Brittany's visit has caused Lysira a great deal of pain. Lysira apologizes to the man for disturbing his sleep and admits that she didn't tell him about her background. The man confesses that he guessed her hardship and felt there was a reason behind her beauty and suffering. He didn't ask so he wouldn't touch her wounds, but now he wants to do everything he can to protect her. Lysira jokes that she wants him to turn into a wolf and protect her. The man agrees that he will fulfill his wife's every wish. He warns that if he turns into a wolf, the whole bed will be covered in wool, but the woman replies that it's no big deal. He says he has a gift for her, a relic called the sleeve stone. She doesn't know of such a relic. He explains that the sleeve stone gives good dreams if used correctly, but if used improperly can imprison a person in eternal sleep forever. This relic seduces those who wish to escape reality. Some relics were not registered with the holy nation because they lacked the power to suppress them. The man promises that if she wants, he will bring the sleeve stone and can suppress its power to grant her good dreams. The woman says she doesn't need to escape into dreams, and she's sure she won't abuse it. She questions whether it's worth having such an heirloom in their possession, since Kay and Jen's parents will die within 3 years. The woman is confident that she can manage the relic without any problems. The man, worried, suggests other methods. The woman is surprised by his concern and asks him to bring the relic. She promises to destroy the cursed stone with her own hands. A few days later, they arrive at the site. Kay says that everything is ready and suggests that Lysira be careful. She reflects that she has been too focused on the stone, forgetting the other methods that Kay promised to show her. They finally reach the place, and Lysira is surprised. She sees a beautiful place with grazing horses and expresses her admiration. Kay asks if she likes the place, and she says yes. He says that he has something special prepared for her that is inside. They meet Eugene, who greets them and tells them that everything is ready. Lysira is surprised by the horses she sees next to him. Lysira notices a horn on one of the horses and assumes they are unicorns. Kay asks to keep it a secret and explains that adults have horns that become invisible for survival. He also tells them that these creatures understand human speech, are loyal to their masters, and can fly when fully grown. Lysira asks about the horses' names, and Kay calls his mother White. Lysira jokes about his naming ability. She greets the horse by name, but the baby unicorn has no name. Kay suggests that Lysira pick a name for him herself. Kay informs Lysira that the unicorn now belongs to her. He warns that the unicorn can be naughty, as he is too energetic for a first-time owner. Kay is confident that Lysira will be able to tame him if she is careful. Lysira thanks Kay and promises to do her best to raise the unicorn. Meanwhile, the man is angry and decides he will destroy the marriage. He wonders how no one in the house thought to stop it. The man is determined to get out of there first so he can carry out his plans. Someone shouts for the unicorn to stop. Lysira asks him to obey, but he is stubborn. She tries to feed it, but the unicorn resists and knocks her down. Lysira begs him to obey. She finds it hard. She realizes that it is much more difficult than she thought. Nathan warns her to be very careful with a unicorn because it can be dangerous. Lysira thinks the unicorn is very cute anyway. She kisses Kay, but he is embarrassed that the unicorn is watching them. Kay jokes that if she doesn't want to kiss in front of him, they should leave the stall. Kay tells Lysira that he's half beastman and feels weird when others admire her. Lysira was surprised. Kay left, saying he'd be back before the wedding, and asked her to rest. Lysira met Kay's parents. They asked if her morning had been restful and mentioned that Kay had told them about the gift a unicorn. Lysira confessed that she didn't know how to tame it. Her parents suggested giving it a name to create attachment. Lysira thought about it and chose the name Windy for the unicorn. The parents approved of the name and said they had another reason why they called her today. Kay's parents informed Lysira that someone from the Duchy of Whitlow would be arriving in a few days. They asked how they should treat the Duke and Duchess of Whitlow. Lysira suggested that they were probably interested in her situation, and anything they found would be a topic for gossip. She asked her parents to do as they saw fit. Meanwhile, the Duke and Duchess of Whitlow, arriving earlier than they had expected, were faced with a refusal to let them in. A servant explained that the Countess was busy and could not receive guests. The Duke was outraged, considering such treatment an insult. He demanded to inform Lysira of their arrival, but the servant apologized, saying that they had no guest rooms prepared. The Duchess offered to try again to contact Lysira, but the Duke decided they would return the next day. Brittany, watching the scene, wondered if Lysira had lost her mind. The guard reported that the Countess was not feeling well and suggested they return tomorrow. He promised to teach them manners. Lysira recognized that they had come again and asked Jamie what to do. She decided they wouldn't leave and offered to teach them manners. A long time has passed, but nothing changes. The guests resent this reception and complain about the lack of tea and food. They consider it an insult and demand an explanation. A guest notices that they are being ignored and expresses his displeasure. The hero coughed and turned to the Duke, informing him that the Countess is asking for a little more patience. The father asked how long they had been waiting. The daughter asked to be allowed to speak. She asked if Lysira had ordered her family to be treated this way. The hero replied that it was not possible as Lysira had asked to treat them with respect. The daughter asked if such treatment was the norm in Earl Green's house. Hero replied that it depended on the guest. The hero thought it was respectful, considering what the Whitlow family had done to the Countess. The heroine realized that they already knew everything. The man expressed his outrage and questioned where the woman had heard such a ridiculous thing. He confidently stated that Lysira had lied again. The woman supported his opinion, adding that Lysira had a habit of lying often, and this was not the first time she had misled them. The woman, however, asked the man not to be too harsh on Lysira. She explained that Lysira does have a habit of lying, but it's not because she wants to cause harm, but rather because of her character, and there's nothing she can do about it. The woman also revealed that Lysira did not want to get married, but Earl Green forced her to do so against her will. This explains her reluctance and resistance. The hero, upon hearing this, apologized to the woman, saying that he did not know that Earl Green was Sir Jamie's master. He admitted that it was the first time he had heard of it, and noted that Lysira's words now seemed more believable to him. The woman thought about the fact that she would probably be accused of lying. The man offered to pretend that they believed Lysira's words and offered to direct them to the guest house to avoid further conflict. The woman wondered if they would voluntarily agree to go to the guest house. She said they would probably be looking for her, and that was exactly what they needed right now to find out the truth. The man offered to escort them to the guest house, to which the woman objected that she wanted to see Lysira first. The man thought it would be interesting to see the scene, but admitted he couldn't do that. The man went to the door and asked if this was Lysira's room. The guards replied that it was Countess Green's room and that it was not allowed to enter without permission. The man, irritated by Lysira's constant busyness, asked what she might be doing. The woman advised him not to make such remarks. The man, unable to contain himself, asked in anger if Earl Green had hit Lysira and suggested that perhaps she was avoiding them because of the bruises on her face. From behind the door, the man reported that the Countess had asked to find out what was going on as it was too noisy. The man, unable to stand it, lost his temper. The man screamed in pain as the guards grabbed him without showing the slightest sympathy. The woman, not hiding her indignation, asked how dare they treat her father like that, emphasizing her indignation and anger. The guard, also surprised and somewhat confused, said that he had heard the man call himself her father. The woman at this point thought that Lysira had talked too much and revealed unnecessary information, which could have led to this situation. She got even more angry thinking about the fact that Lysira was not shy to admit that she had been treated like a servant. It was a real shame and humiliation for the woman that she couldn't forgive. The woman reminded her that even after leaving Whitlow, Lysira remained their servant who always came when called and followed orders. Her voice was full of contempt, and she expressed her resentment towards Lysira in the harshest of words. At that moment, Lysira came out and asked what the commotion was about, trying to figure out what was going on. The woman was surprised to see her, and this caused her to ask even more questions. The man, with some annoyance, asked why Lysira looked like that and why she hadn't announced her arrival beforehand. He noted that she had been told this many times before, emphasizing her inattention or unwillingness to follow the rules. The woman thought that Lysira probably hated Earl Green and didn't want to marry, which explained her behavior. Lysira invited them in, showing hospitality despite the tense situation. The women were surprised that Lysira did not deny what they said and accepted their accusations calmly. Lysira asked them to understand her rudeness, attributing it to a lack of proper upbringing at home. Lysira then added that she had not yet introduced her maids to them and invited them to meet her. She introduced her maids, mentioning that one was from the Krishna family and the other from the Ludek family, showing their high background and importance. The man thought about the fact that families of this caliber were serving Lysira and realized that if they treated her as usual, it could lead to problems. Lysira asked why they had come so early despite the date on the invitation. She didn't believe they had missed her. The woman tried to justify herself, but Lysira pointed out that Earl Green had taken her unexpectedly, and there was no news of a wedding. There were bad rumors that her face would be disfigured right after the wedding. Lysira found this amusing and accused the woman of sending Viscount Hatch, knowing it would cause trouble. Lysira hinted that the woman was now pretending to worry about her. Lysira asked if the woman thought she was still the same Lysira. Lysira pointed out that if the woman is worried about her, then the woman might be worried about the woman too. She asked if the woman wanted to experience what she had, being beaten and locked in a warehouse with no windows and no food. The woman tried to justify herself, but Lysira continued. She said they could call her a liar, but if they hurt her again, she would go to the authorities to cut all ties with the Whitlow family. Lysira warned that if they asked why, she would reveal everything that had happened, and they wouldn't be able to hide it. Now many know the truth, and Lysira has the power to act. Brittany, gripped by panic, turns to her father to ask what they should do next as the situation begins to spiral out of control. Her father, trying to remain calm, admits that he doesn't want to admit it, but Lysira is no longer in their power and they have no control over her. He realizes that they need to find a new approach. The father decides that in this situation, they need to maintain a good relationship with the Green family in the future to maintain their position and influence. He asks Brittany to calm down and listen to his plan, explaining that it is important for the sake of their shared future and well-being. Later, Lysira receives word that the Whitlow family will be staying with them until their wedding. She was prepared for this, realizing that they want to make a good impression in front of the royal family, who will also be attending the ceremony. Lysira decides to watch carefully as they will try to play the role of the perfect family. Lysira asks when Kay will arrive and is informed that he will be tomorrow. She delves into memories of past lives and how they were forced into a contractual relationship out of necessity. Now Lysira feels she must protect everyone so that Kay no longer needs Brittany and can be free of this commitment. During the night, Lysira wakes up from a nightmare and cries out for help. Kay ends up by her side. He says he ran all night to be with her and support her. He explains that she had a nightmare and calms her down, asking her to try to sleep again so she can wake up in the morning and say hello to him with renewed strength. The next morning, Lysira feels rested, probably due to a sound sleep. She is surprised to see Kay beside her and asks him when he arrived. Kay replies with a smile that she slept soundly and he didn't see the need to wake her up to let her rest. He asks if she had a good dream, and Lysira begins to remember that Kay used a magic stone to improve her sleep. At first the dream seemed like a real nightmare, but when Kay showed up, everything changed and the nightmare turned into something pleasant and reassuring. Lysira smiles and says that she ended up having a very happy dream. Kay reacts happily, realizing that his efforts were successful. Lysira recalls how Kay once referred to Triss's earrings as earrings that have brought bad luck in the past. Now she ponders that perhaps in this life they will bring her good fortune. Kay notices her thoughtfulness and asks what she's thinking about. Lysira, not wanting to say outright that she dreamed about Kay, decides to say the name Windy. Kay is surprised to hear the name and repeats it with slight bewilderment, Windy. He then jokingly remarks that Lysira still thinks of Windy, despite having her handsome husband by her side. Lysira replies with a smile that he asked her about the dream, not that she started the conversation on the subject herself. Kay had hoped she was dreaming about him, and is a little disappointed that it turned out not to be the case. Lysira, understanding his mood, notices that Kay was completely different in her dream, and it made her wonder if everything that was happening was just a hallucination. She begins to question the reality of what is happening, but Kay interrupts her, asking her not to delve into these thoughts. Lysira, embarrassed by his words and actions, says that if Kay touches her like that since morning, she won't be able to contain her feelings. Kay apologizes for his behavior, but Lysira says he doesn't need to apologize if she can keep her emotions in check in return. Lysira feels her heart start to beat harder at the sound of Kay's voice. She notes to herself that this feeling doesn't scare her, but instead makes her curious. Lysira wants to find out how much more intense these sensations can be and how much hotter her feelings can become. She is not sure if she can hold back her emotions and desires any longer. Lysira reflects on the fact that the sudden stop at this point bothers her the most. She realizes that the situation is becoming tense and uncertain. Kay admits that he has lost his temper, which is rare for him, and this adds to her worry. Despite her words, Kay wonders if Lysira has gotten closer to Windy since she had a dream about him. Lysira explains that every time she gives Windy an apple, he tries to bite her hand, which makes her wary. Kay reminds her that unicorns eat everything, and she needs to be careful to avoid injury. Kay pulls out a piece of jewelry from his bag that the clan chief Quarton has repurposed into a bracelet. He warns Lysira not to touch it, as this jewelry can be dangerous to those who feel unhappy or wish to die. Lysira ponders whether she looks unhappy or wishes to die, and recalls moments when Kay saw her fragile and ready to break. She ponders that Kay just wants her to have pleasant dreams and feel safe. When Kay first brought the magic stone, Lysira thought about destroying it, but now believes that if its presence helps reduce Kay's anxiety, then she can endure. Lysira promises Kay that she won't break no matter what happens. Lysira thanks Kay for his care and attention, recognizing that his worry does touch her and shows how much he cares about her. She asks Kay to promise her that he will never lose the stone or let anyone touch it, as she realizes how important it is to both of them. Kay promises Lysira that he will always keep the stone safe and won't let anyone touch it. He adds that he also likes it when Lysira lectures him, which makes them both smile. He then wonders if his brother has arrived before him, hoping to find out the latest news. At that moment, Jen walks up to Lysira and they hug, showing their genuine joy at seeing each other. Jen curiously asks how Lysira has been doing in her absence. Lysira replies that she missed Jen a lot and is happy to see her again. Jen jokes, laughing, that she spent the family fortune during her preparations but enjoyed the process. Lysira introduces Jen to the woman, explaining that she is Countess Nelanicus Genal and her dear friend. Countess Nelanicus greets Countess Green with elegant courtesy. Lysira is immersed in memories of a past life where Nelanicus was known as a social goddess with even more power than Brittany when she became empress. At any lavish reception the empress hosted, the absence of Countess Nelanicus immediately made the evening less glittering and meaningful. Brittany always tried to get closer to Countess Nelanicus, hoping to win her favor, but she rarely attended the empress receptions and always kept some distance, emphasizing her independence and mystery. Lysira realizes that Jen has always been and remains a key figure in their circle, and her friendship is invaluable to her. Lysira recalls once being invited to a reception for Countess Nelanicus. At that reception, she felt awkward, not understanding why the Countess was constantly looking at her. These looks caused Lysira mixed feelings ranging from embarrassment to hidden anxiety. Lysira hoped that this time it would be different and a more friendly and trusting relationship would be established between them. Turning to Countess Genal, she says that she has heard of her fame and asks to be called simply Lysira. The Countess, smiling, responds by asking to be called Nella, which immediately creates an atmosphere of intimacy and ease. Lysira reflects on the fact that even though she and Brittany are sisters, she probably underestimated her little sister. Every day she realizes more and more how strong and determined Brittany is, and she should recognize her worth. Lysira notices that Nella looks fragile, but at the same time she radiates resilience and determination. You can see a deep wisdom in her eyes, as if she knows more than she is saying. Lysira marvels that Nella, despite her seeming gentleness, has an inner strength and kindness. She begins to doubt that Nella has really grown like a flower in a greenhouse, as many may think. Lysira sees her as someone who has gone through many trials and come out of them with dignity. This makes her even more respectable and admirable in Lysira's eyes. Jen explains to Lysira that she shouldn't worry about the rumors that Nella and her brother have a strained relationship, as these rumors are not true. In fact, they really don't get along, but that doesn't stop Nella from helping with the wedding preparations. Lysira is surprised and wonders why Nella is then so involved in the wedding preparations if she is having problems with her brother. Jen, with obvious annoyance, notices that someone is spreading such rumors and it really bothers her. At that moment, Brittany bursts into the room and reproachfully asks Lysira why she is eating without her sister who has traveled from afar. Lysira calmly replies that she was not warned of Brittany's visit, so she was unaware of her arrival. Brittany is stunned to learn that Geratin Green is already here. Lysira, trying to make sense of the situation, asks Nella if she is really Countess Nelanicus Genal. Brittany, upon seeing Nella, also experiences surprise and confusion. Lysira ponders that perhaps Brittany has reason to be concerned, as Nella's presence is clearly unsettling to her. She realizes that Brittany may feel threatened by Nella and her influence. Lysira welcomes Brittany and invites her to join the important guests for dinner, believing that this might be a good opportunity for her. She thinks it might smooth out tensions and strengthen their family bond, as well as show Brittany that she has nothing to fear. Lysira reminds Brittany that Geratin and Nelanicus, with whom Brittany has always had difficulties, now socialize with her without any problems. She wonders with a slight sneer if Brittany is jealous that these people are now in her entourage. Brittany, trying to keep her composure, says that she hasn't even had a normal conversation with these two, feeling mildly annoyed at this reminder. Lysira calls out to Brittany a few times, noticing her daze, and asks why she's acting so strangely. Brittany, trying to hide her emotions, replies that everything is fine and nothing special is going on. Lysira, continuing the conversation, asks if Brittany is okay with the sudden gathering, hinting that such events are nothing new to her, as she often attends many parties. Brittany, slightly embarrassed, agrees and says that she may have made friends she didn't even realize she had before. Lysira reminds Brittany that at all parties, people are always trying to get closer to her, finding her company pleasant and interesting. At this point, Brittany suddenly remembers some urgent matter and asks Lysira to continue the dinner without her. Perplexed, Lysira asks where she is going, since Brittany came to have lunch with them on purpose. Brittany excuses herself, saying she was too anxious to see her sister and didn't think about her situation. Lysira reassures her, suggesting that she not worry and stay to finish the meal together. Brittany starts to feel uncomfortable and insists again that she really needs to leave for urgent business. Lysira firmly tells Brittany to sit down and continue the meal, forcing her to comply. The woman observing the situation is surprised by Brittany's attempt to leave during the meal and suggests that everyone continue eating. Brittany inwardly resents herself, believing that she can't say a word because of Lysira's presence. She reflects on the fact that if it weren't for Lysira's intervention, she would have married Cabrad Green long ago and lived a completely different life. The woman, noticing Brittany's tense state, asks her if she is uncomfortable. Brittany, holding back her emotions, replies that if she opens her mouth, nothing good will come of it, hinting at a possible conflict. The woman, trying to understand the situation, suggests that Brittany may be hiding something from Lysira. Brittany begins to justify herself, saying with some nervousness that this is not the case, but she is interrupted, suggesting that they continue discussing the wedding dress. Brittany is internally angry, feeling unwanted and believing that she is being seen as useless. At this critical juncture, Brittany makes a bold and drastic decision for herself. She decides to ascend to the role of crown princess and bring about the downfall of Lysira to reclaim her lost dignity and influence. While she meticulously crafts her plans, a sudden interruption occurs. A man arrives, heralding the arrival of Green. Kay, seemingly preoccupied with his own activities, casually mentions that he was indulging in a sandwich while meticulously sorting through a stack of documents. He inquires about Lysira's lunch plans and suggests that they depart together as soon as she finishes. His proposition is laced with a subtle eagerness to spend additional time with her, hoping to discuss matters of importance that weigh on his mind. Amidst these interactions, another woman feels overwhelmingly neglected. She observes that both she and her brother are practically invisible to those around them. Kay, catching on to the shift in mood, quickly apologizes, explaining his lack of awareness was due to his intense focus on Lysir. Meanwhile, Brittany, harboring deep-seated resentment, vocally expresses her frustration and outrage at being perpetually overlooked in favor of Lysira. Attempting to diffuse the escalating tension, Kay calls for calm and takes the opportunity to formally introduce his sister Brittany to Lysira, even though they had previously met at the Duke's residence. He expresses a hopeful desire that this reintroduction will help to alleviate the brewing animosity between them. Following the introductions, Kay inquires about Lysira's readiness to conclude dinner. Receiving a nod of affirmation from her, they both leave the dining table, a move that leaves Brittany feeling even more alienated and disappointed. Overwhelmed by her emotions and unable to watch them any longer, Brittany decides to remove herself from the situation. Seeking to lighten the mood, Kay offers Lysira a chance to partake in a leisurely horseback ride. However, Lysira, preferring a more grounded experience, opts for a walk instead. Undeterred, Kay playfully teases her, attempting to lift her spirits. He eventually persuades her to mount the horse, reassuring her of its safety and stability. Once they commence their horseback journey, Kay asks Lysira if she feels comfortable with the pace. Upon her confirmation, they pick up speed. Lysira, initially alarmed by their quickened pace, is soon calmed by Kay, who encourages her to focus on and enjoy the picturesque landscape that envelops them. Kay shares his intentions for this outing. He wants to distance Lysira from Brittany and show her the captivating scenery as a form of respite. He hopes that the serene environment will help soothe Lysira's spirits and momentarily distract her from her ongoing tensions with Brittany. A few more words. Dear viewers, I would like to address you once again and express my gratitude for your interest and support. Your comments and suggestions are very important to me, as they help me better understand your preferences and expectations. In addition, I want to welcome you and let you know that I will continue working on the sequel, if that is what you want. If you are interested in learning more about the sequel or have specific topics or questions you would like me to cover, please leave your comments below. Your active interaction, such as likes, comments, and subscriptions to my channel, will be an important signal to me that my work is appreciated and I can move on. I want to wish you a great day and a great mood. Don't forget to follow updates and subscribe to my channel so as not to miss interesting materials. Thank you for your time and trust. Summary channel with you. Bye bye my friends. At the time of writing the script for this story, that was totally all there was to it. This was a wonderful and exciting story that I read more than once. Each time, immersing myself in this fascinating world, I discovered something new and amazing. Plot twists, characters, their emotions and experiences, all this made me forget about reality and completely immerse myself in the narrative. I hope that the author will continue to delight us with new chapters, and the story will develop further, delighting us with new unexpected twists and turns and deep emotional moments. I look forward to the continuation. The end.